Thanks for watching Afternoon Live. As chronic stress continues to rise, you may find yourself desperate to find relief. So here to share how something simple like balancing your cortisol levels can help, we welcome back Stanford School of Medicine professor and author of Gain Without Pain, Dr. Greg Hammer. Great to see you.
Great to see you as well.
Hi, Joey. One of our favorite pups.
Joey was eagerly looking forward to our gathering as well.
So let's talk about cortisol. What is it and why is it so important for us?
Cortisol is a hormone that is secreted by little glands that sit on top of our kidneys called the adrenal glands. And cortisol has many functions, but it's one of the primary hormones that is released during acute stress. So it's part of what we call the acute stress response. Cortisol and another hormone called adrenaline, with which most of us are somewhat familiar, are the two primary hormones released in our body when we are stressed, the typical fight or flight response. When we're faced with a physical threat, for example, and we have a choice between running away or staying and fighting our predator or enemy. So adrenaline and cortisol are released, and cortisol increases our blood sugar, and it has other effects that help prepare us to fight or flight.
So it's something that exactly that occurs naturally in our body at certain times, but too much of that can be bad for us.
Yes, well, it's an interesting discussion. The acute stress response itself is often adaptive. If we're faced with a physical threat, we want changes in our body to happen that improve our ability to react. So we want our heart rate to go up, our heart to pump more blood, the sugar in our blood to go up, so more sugar gets to our muscles so we can activate them. The problem is that most of the time now we activate the acute stress response when we're not facing a physical threat. It's activated just by stressful thought. So, I have a meeting with my boss, or I'm having an argument with my friend or my spouse, and that increases our adrenaline and cortisol, and that's not really adaptive. But the worst thing is when we are not resilient, then this acute stress response becomes chronic. And when cortisol, among other things, is chronically elevated, it actually suppresses our immune system. It weakens our bones, it weakens our muscles, it makes us feel fatigued. It has a number of adverse effects. It actually ages us. So we need to find ways to prevent the acute stress response from becoming chronic.
So then there some simple things that we can do to get started, hopefully elevating those cortisol levels over time?
Yeah, so what we want to do is when we feel this acute stress response, even if there's no physical threat, how do we bring that response back down so that our physiology returns to baseline? We all know when we're stressed, we feel our heart beating fast, we feel anxious, we may get a little sweaty. So we need tools to be able to deal with that and bring the adrenaline and cortisol levels back down to normal so we don't have all these adverse effects of chronic stress. So for me, Joey always helps. If I'm stressed, I can call Joey and pick him up and hold him, and that calms me down. But certainly mindfulness meditation, exercise, being with a friend, making connections with other people, these are all ways to settle down that acute stress response so we don't suffer these chronic changes associated with elevated cortisol.
And then it's just taking care of ourselves on a day-to-day basis, having that sleep and good nutrition and rest. I mean, did all those things kind of come together to help in some way?
Absolutely. And the main thing is, Hannah, we need a plan. So we need, rather than the New Year's resolution, which we can continually put off till tomorrow, we should have a plan each day. We really want to focus on healthy eating, exercise, good sleep hygiene, and hopefully a practice that brings our mental state into the present moment, and a simple gratitude practice in the morning and evening, or the gain practice particularly. So we need all those things. We need to focus on them every day, and pretty soon they just become part of the way we live, and our cortisol levels will stay nice and physiologic.
Can you quickly remind us what the gain method is?
Sure. Well, the gain method is simply a mindfulness meditation practice. Can take 3 minutes in the morning. We sit in a quiet place and close our eyes, focus on slow, deep breathing, which activates our parasympathetic nervous system and the vagus nerve. And then we just briefly, for 30 or 45 seconds each, go through a self-guided contemplation of that for which we're grateful, that which is unpleasant, that we can't change, that we accept, our intention to be present. We can focus on our immediate physical sensations. And then the end and gain is non-judgment. We learn how to drop judgments, especially self-judgment. And then we return to our breath, and then we're ready to go out in the world.
A few minutes a day can make a really big difference. Great to see you. And Joey, thank you so much for joining us today.
Anytime, Hannah. It's wonderful to be with you.
Oh, good. Again, Dr. Hammer's book is Gain Without Pain, and we'll have more information on our website at katu.com. We'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.